What is up, my fellow Sniper Kings? I am God Usopp here to discuss chapters 753 to 763 of One Piece. That's volume 76, and I'm not alone. I'm joined as always by my man with the all-seeing eye, Eggy Viola Rodriguez! That's what the V stood for this whole time!
Hold up, but you can call me the mayor of Whitetown because life is good, but all of our lives are getting a lot shorter and we might be more diseased every single year. It is what it is. You know what? Everybody has their time in the sun. That's how it is. It's natural.
Eggy, when we first met, you advocated for starting a white town. I didn't know what you meant by that.
And I had a lot of lead there too, but you know, that was different years. You know, we had a president. I reliably was informed that he might have been a Kenyan, and well, we don't need to get into it too much.
What year did we didn't meet when Obama was in office, did we? I don't think so.
Yes, I said his name was Joe Biden.
Okay. We met way before that, though. Surely it was when Trump was in office. No?
Nope. It was in, about 6 months into...
but we podcasted together on... one of those things in like 2017 or 18, right? That's what I was talking about.
It probably would have been more likely that I was saying something like that at those times because, you know, it wasn't, I didn't have the heavy fist of snoozing, PBUH, you know, cramming my channels in by the droves to, you know, put me into silence about what I wanted to talk about, which is obviously environmental health concerns, like what happens in today's volume. That's what I'm talking about.
Now that we've cleared up the void history of how Mumkey and Eggy met, we can dive back into One Piece. Eggy, what is your top of mind this week?
Well, you know, there was a couple ones that were really pinging up there, but I think I'm going to be just like what's relative to my top of mind. I'm coming in for the 1 in a million perfect bullseye shot, and I'm taking that as my top of mind. With the direction of Viola and the all-seeing eye, Usopp is able to launch a super special projectile just in the nick of time because Sugar comes back to consciousness, creates some horrible immortal skeleton nutcracker deities that will bite your horse's head into a fine paste, just like how Tony Soprano beat Dr. Mofi's head into ground beef. That's what they're about to do. It's very bad. But
are you that far already? He's beating Dr. Milfy? And I did say Milfy, by the way, if you caught that, Egg.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, well, when I was first watching that show and I was looking up where actors were they today, I'm telling you, Dr. Gilfy now. it's like 30 years. The only thing that changed, the hair got grayer. And you know what? That means it's wiser.
Down to clown. Silver hairs can be sexy on my anime women, so why not?
I am just in the last handful of episodes of that series, and then it's all over. I'll start rewatching, but yeah, yes,
you brought it up, and I was gonna bring this up later on, but might as well while we're here. Oda has been going crazy with the delightful animals getting horribly mutilated lately. Doflamingo shot a string bullet into Moosey, I think last volume. I didn't like that, and then the brutality of this nutcracker actually chomping down on the horse's skull to the point where it cannot go on, and.
Well, and she's calling it the head cracker, so I'm thinking, like, if you're gonna tell me, like, oh, somebody's a head cracker, it's just a very, like, standard term, I feel like, for hired muscle, goon, whatever, you know, thug. Okay, but no, this is specifically has an ultra-powerful, indestructible jaw with giant teeth specifically to destroy your skull, and it's going after a completely defenseless animal.
To tie it back to Eggy again, I'm pretty sure when you were in 6th grade and you were one of the only white people in your school, that was your nickname, was the head cracker. you led them.
You know, it was probably about those years, in fact, that I started assuming that position, so you're quite right.
How's Oda going to give us Whitetown and the head cracker in the same volume? What else other white supremacist bullshit did he throw in here?
Is this like a secret, if we want to talk about dog whistles, you know, the Native Americans, they were riding horses around, you know, and able to conquer with their great bow and arrow skills. And then the head cracker comes and, uses some technology and some mystical stuff nobody's ever seen before to take down the horses.
And who defeats all of the head crackers here, but the African descendant man Usopp here with his masterful sniping. And Eggy, what do you make of this scene here when he's about to take his shot and then it's like he can see what Viola is seeing. He can see their spirits through the window from miles away. What do you make of this?
I could try and posit it to some kind of like super development in his abilities. I also feel like perhaps Viola being in close proximity to him, it might be giving like a sort of a second sight, like a second-hand second sight. I don't know, maybe second sight is second-hand.
Why was that not the case? That never occurred to me, Eggy. She could show Sanji her own thoughts, right? What would prevent her from, like, one hand I'm watching the castle, the other hand in front of Usopp's face so he can see what I see to make the shot? But she wasn't doing that. Why didn't she do that?
Well, that's a very good question. But I feel like, and she's giving him like a play-by-play. Maybe I feel like there's got to be some kind of like energy wafting off of her or something that he's like able to pick up. He's very dialed and focused. Yeah, really just a superhuman moment, whether that's through her powers, energy, through his own capabilities, but that's just kind of what I chalked it up to.
Do you think it could be, it was such an intense and dramatic moment where he loves Luffy so much and he knows if he fails here, he's going to lose Luffy in a way like nobody's ever lost somebody before. So it's, the highest tension ever. Is Usopp perhaps unlocking observation hockey?
I think, he's made very well aware. We have all the everything leading up to this exact moment. He's kind of playing through in his own head, the reason why, I forgot Robin or whatever is because she was a toy, and if Luffy happens to become a toy now, he's our, in fact, the title of, 757 is that Luffy is our trump card, our ace card, or whatever, that always helps us at our most necessary times. So maybe now for once, Usopp, especially after, the shame that he brought upon, which was, mostly redeemed by his coincidental fire great blast that helped everybody, it made him into the god and everything. But, if he's ascending to these higher levels throughout this arc here, this could maybe be another one of those where he's able to tap into that latent energy, that superhuman moment. Like I said, kind of like we hear about it in our reality, women being able to like flip over a car if their kids are trapped under it, stuff like that. Just sort of these superhuman moments, like a real fight or flight to the max, absolute survival moment. And then he's getting that information from her as well. So I think a combination of all these factors plays into him being able to do this here. But it is super epic because, if there was any bit that was off here, getting some Enies lobby flashbacks, even off just a millimeter, this is a 1 in a million chance here for the average person probably, and he's able to buy us a little bit of time. It's very necessary. That's what we need more than ever right now, trying to squash the last of the Doflamingo family, and especially Doflamingo himself.
In a way, it's the quickest reversal of Usopp's lies becoming truth. Because while he was technically the hero who saved everybody down in the pits with Sugar, he was a fraudulent hero who was captured and defeated easily, and then just through circumstance of a spicy grape, he became everybody's hero. So now, so that's the lies that he's this god Usopp, he saved everybody. They're technically somewhat true, but also a lie. And here, the very next volume, he's proving it. He actually is earning the title of Sniper King, which he earned in Enies Lobby anyway, but truly God mode now, doing a sniping feat that we haven't seen anything the likes of since maybe back in Mocktown. That guy was sniping like pigeons from 5 miles away and they fell into the Mary. So Usopp's catching up to Blackbeard's sniper.
And really, people could probably determine pigeon flight patterns if they had a certain bit of information or some observational skills in that way, because these are just animals. So this could maybe, definitely on the par with those at the very least, yes.
In terms of setting up tension, I think just that one chapter where he's trying to get the perfect shot and all the stakes are there of Doflamingo put the highest bounty on Usopp's head, and this is probably why 5 billion berries, or was it million, billion? Probably.
I believe it was 500 million
500
berries.
million, there we go, that makes more sense. And like the angry mob is right on their tail because stupid ass Kanjuro, who we'll get into later, he made them a ladder. And it's like, yeah, if these people catch Usopp, we're all doomed because Luffy and Law are both here, so they're the only ones who can stop Doflamingo. And if they're turned into toys and we forget them, we're all just dead. Like, that's the plan. So everything's riding on this, and the people grab Usopp right when he takes a shot. It's just down to the millisecond. So beautiful. Top Usopp moment. I asked you before, do you think Usopp can do better than this feat with the grape thing? And I don't know if you were too sure. And here we go, right away.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because it seemed like such a peak at that time, and you know, I think it will stand the test of time. I feel like, you know, throughout the story, but yeah, what happened for him doing that, you know, for all the incredible help that he provided, it just made everybody go, oh wait, he's got this much bounty? Well, yeah, I've been a toy for the last like 10 years. I have nothing. I need that money. So I just really had to make that money. I gotta make that money. So they,
Darkside Phil would betray Usopp immediately. Even before he knew about the bounty, he's like, oh, that guy's getting too much attention. Fuck this. They should be praising me.
Betraying Asmongold on like his most successful stream ever, like during the end of that stream or the beginning of the next one, because the money visibly slowed down to any amount and degree. There'd be no help.
Any other thoughts on Usopp's moment of glory here?
No. Like I said, towards the end of the volume was probably my next biggest interest, but I think for what happens and what goes down here, you know, I'm not gonna start getting into everything quite yet, but I think that this was a moment of great tension, of great importance, and of great success, and that's why it gets my stamp as top of mind of volume 76.
If I was doing a tier list of One Piece moments, or like scenes, or, you know, that kind of thing, I feel like this breaks the mold. Like, this is like S+ tier. Like, this is, you know, Mount Rushmore of coolest things that have been set up and paid off in the story, at least for me. And you can tell I'm biased as a big Usopp fan, but stuff like this is what made me one. And Eggy, what is your virgin prediction? How many chapters until Usopp gets a feat that even supersedes this one?
I feel like this arc has really had him going up a lot, but you know, I also can recall enough, just because we brought it up a few times now, that perhaps Dressrosa is a bit lengthy. So, you know, there's still room for some of our other Straw Hats maybe to, you know, put themselves at a higher level as well. That might maybe then cause Usopp to then also go at another higher level to, let's see, ballpark figure. I'll say volume, well, I guess I don't know 100% what chapter. Let's say at least within 150 chapters. You know, by 150 chapters from now.
So say by around 900, Usopp will do something even cooler than this. Eggy's locking it in. And maybe it's debatable what a cool moment is, but we'll get to that.
I just feel like
we remember.
You know, I will say, because like, okay, we had time skip Usopp, we saw everything he had going on there. This is like his new peak right now since then. And I feel like we are just really ramping up. You know, this isn't just a static world where, oh, it came back in the East Blue, you know, we're going and we're meeting this person and we're fighting this person, and then we're going to the Grand Line and we're going to this. And it's not just really something that's very linear and static anymore. Like, we're really getting into these high tension, high stress, high pressure situations with these very powerful people, some of the most powerful people in the world, and we're just kind of like really ramping up the power level of the people that we're meeting as we go, especially post time skip. So I feel like with these greater environments, these greater atmospheres, and these bigger and heavier situations, I think it's going to provide more opportunities for more exceptional performance and standout abilities being displayed by the Straw Hats compared to what we've seen pacing-wise maybe so far. But not that I even want that necessarily, because it doesn't need to be like some big, always outdoing each other fest. But I think that we're just going to be having it necessitated from how things are developing. So, but we'll see.
And it does keep things exciting and interesting to have members of the crew who are leagues weaker than the main character, like the main fighters, because then it's more high-stakes situations when Usopp has to go up against Eneru, Like, you wouldn't get that if they were all fucking Goku the whole time. It'd be boring as hell. Right. To the last fumes of your top of mind here I want to go off of, because I feel like Dressrosa very much is a microcosm of One Piece as a whole, and I think it's also practice for a potential arc where they're invading Marijois, the castle on the Red Line. I have to imagine that's going to happen in the story someday. And this feels like practice in the sense where Luffy's getting assistance from all the Colosseum fighters, and I would like to imagine in the final arc of the story, like, it's all the characters we've gotten to know over thousands of chapters now. Like, fucking, like, the Yonko will be, these characters popping in to protect Luffy, and all the warlords, like whoever the fuck, just all these crazy characters. Don Krieg might pop in to protect Luffy for a second. So I'm very excited for that. And if this is practice in a microcosm and all that for that section of the story, I would like to imagine that Usopp saving everybody in the entire world with some crazy feat, whether it's to protect Luffy or not, I think that's gonna happen for sure, and that this is just a little taste of what's to come. And Usopp haters will be eating crow for that exact one chapter, and then he'll never do anything after that.
I want to suppose something to you just real quick. We're in an age of incredible technological advancement. Nowadays, your phone can just write, like a 10,000 book, epic novel series for you in seconds. That's why they're not making GPUs or RAM anymore, because they sold it all for these reasons. But anyway, could it perhaps possibly be that by the time that we would reach such a time in One Piece, that technology could possibly exist that could just materialize based on all previous factors, different endings to the story? Like, it could just be like, it could really end any number of ways, in which one of the ones like what you're mentioning could then be supposed to exist, and it wouldn't feel out of place at all. It would be like, very organically crafted. But not that Oda couldn't just, do this if it was, something. But I don't know, just something that came to mind for me just when you were talking about that. Like, even if it's not exactly what you would expect, that it could still possibly come to fruition anyway. Or does that just sound like schizo-technological ramblings?
Are you asking if I would be interested in seeing AI versions of the One Piece ending if it's not exactly what I predicted?
Well, maybe like, I don't know, just anything seems possible nowadays. Like, Oda could just have some special release that's like, oh, well, if there's one Straw Hat member that you think, they're all standing in front of some great white lights or portal or whatever, and he's like, oh, which one would you choose to go forward?
Branching pathways of different universes of things happening. No, thank you.
I don't know.
This shit's gonna be 1,500 chapters when it's done. He's got plenty of room to give all of the main characters epic shit in the final arcs. But I just know Usopp will do something that saves literally every person on the planet. That's my lock of the week, based on this volume, legitimately. Do I need my own top of mind now that we've gone 20 minutes about on yours? I guess so. You said you had something from the end of the volume that interested you. I suspect it might be my top of mind, so let's hear you say it first.
Trafalgar Law or Trafalgar Water D Law? What?
Trafalgar D Water Law. Now let me break this down for you, Eggy. Do those... Does that, the way I phrase it, does that spring to mind anything? Trafalgar D Water Law.
Well, Water. I mean, he said that's his nickname was Water, right?
It's like his secret hidden name, but this is like his full true name. Although he says D is an alias, so perhaps he knows something about the will of D that we don't. since he's calling it an alias, but I think it is his middle initial.
Well, it's it definitely made me think. I don't know, because what we've had every D so far, like they're all, you know, in Luffy's lineage. But what does this mean? That
Are they? Is it because Ace is like his fake brother, and he was a D, and you know, Gold Roger is not related to Luffy; he's a D. But then there's like Garp and Dragon.
Okay, well, I guess it's just the furthest like out of the circle. Maybe not. I don't know. The White Town, I guess, I don't know. I need to check a map and see. But it seemed like they all were kind of still, you know, coming from maybe a relatively similar enough area that I didn't expect D's to be like out there, way out in the middle of unknown territories or unknown places. So this might be just, you know, it's what came to mind for me, I guess. Like I didn't suppose immediately like, oh, there's a direct connection between Luffy and Law just because of the D. I mean, I know there's like something there, but I didn't start like forming connections to known story elements yet at this point. Even with what we do get here in the volume of his backstory in the White Land, in White Town.
Well, I don't want to jump ahead to our future segment quite yet, but there's a relevant question for Virgin from Shogun who says, how much do you know about the Will of D and what theories do you have on it? And this might be the best time to talk about that, Eggy.
Well, it kind of seems
and
like
I should say, that was my top of mind. You got it right. But continue.
I feel like we're talking about Will of D. It just feels like almost in a way, I don't know. I'm just going to tell you like how it's coming to my mind. If it sounds like complete gibberish, it is what it is. I'm just going to keep it real.
That's why we listen to the One Piece Virgin. We want to hear schizophrenic theories, because anything could come true in One Piece. That's why it's so fun. Any of your crazy ideas could be real. That's why I'm not afraid to say anything on this show.
I'm feeling about it like a birthmark, like a star sign, like you know, like a divine right, a divine imparting, you know, like a bloodline of royalty, but without exactly, you know, being the case. Like, you know, we have descendants. You know, there's people who are in America that say, oh, you know, I'm actually King Henry's long lost great whatever, something just. Along those lines, and it doesn't necessarily, I guess, need to make like scientific biological sense that way, but something like that, just like a divine stamp of you know, taking it back to way back, you know, the dreams versus destiny, something about just this is like the movers and shakers of our world are stamped with the Will of D in some kind of way that, I mean, they have it in their name, so, you know, it's coming from somewhere. They just, you know, decided to wake up. I can't make myself D. I gotta be E. So it's somebody's, you know, giving it to them, but it's being imparted somehow in an otherworldly or supernatural, divine kind of way.
One of the main themes of the story is inherited will, and your name is bestowed upon you from your parents, who it seems like are also usually named D in that case, so maybe it's just a tradition for various peoples, and now it's been so long that the receivers of the D don't even know why they have it or what it means. But if Luffy had a kid, maybe he'd give it the D initial too, just for the fuck of it.
I mean, it might be kind of interesting, like, do you still have the Will of D if you don't give it to your, like, is that possible? Can you like hide, be like, oh no, I'm just Monkey Luffy, you know, nothing different, and then could somebody? I mean, they've got, you know, he's got the Conqueror's Hockey and that. Could they pick up on that? I don't know. There's questions, but
and even back when Will of D was introduced from, I think it was Kureha up on Drum Mountain, she said, oh, Gold Roger? Now his name was Gold D Roger. They must be calling him that, you know, to cover up the D. So like the implication that the government doesn't like this D thing. But then like with Luffy's poster, it's just right there, Monkey D Luffy. So maybe they got over it in the generation since.
Well, you know what it could be? It could be something like how in America we have social security numbers and the government forces you, that they force you to be tagged with a social security number. If you like give birth to your child inside your house, you don't get them registered for social security numbers, you can like go to prison for, or it's like a crime to do that. So maybe it's a similar
They arrest the baby.
going on. Yeah, it's neglectful. If your child's gonna have some Will of D, you gotta.
Isn't that so evil? The government will arrest you if you don't register your baby with a number.
Sew the gold D into their clothing to let everybody know.
What the hell? Yeah, world government needs to be taken down. Sniper King, shoot down that flag. You can't even have a baby in peace.
Speaking of those who fight for freedom, is it time for a quick dip? I'll keep it short and brief. We got my special segment that everybody loves. Today we got a big fresh glass of Frankie's Fuel. That's right, Frankie's Fuel. That's cola, rum, aromatic bitters, and a fresh squeezed lime. And I squeezed the juice, and I've just been having it marinating in here. So let's see, is this gonna, I don't know what to make of it. Let's see if it makes me feel Frankie-rific.
I was trying to pull up the soundboard. Okay. Excited for this segment. Was it Frankie-rific? He's going back for seconds. It's got to be good. He's going to coupe de burst right out of that room.
Whoop! Whoop!
Super!
It is the Super Cola Highball, aka Frankie's Fuel. It's supposed to be loud, refreshing, and super. And I will say, floral aromatic alcohol notes combined with cola and fresh squeezed lime. There's even lime chunks floating around in it for extra freshness. Oh yeah, that's a winner in my book.
How does it rank with which one did you do last week? I want to keep a running ranking of what the best drink is.
We had Nami's Cat Burglar's Gold last week, which was honey, champagne, tangerine juice, and vodka. I think I was a little bit unsure about this Frankie's Fuel. I like this one a little more personally. It's a little more bold and brash and kind of comes at you a little bit. That was more of a dainty kind of thing, I think, last week, like a dainty, maybe a little bit lemonade style. That has its place. That's on the beach. This is what you drink before you operate heavy machinery in the morning.
That's what you drink on any podcast given day.
And also every day. That's right.
That's right. Got to get loosey-goosey for the podcast. You make a Frankie's Energetic Cola or whatever the fuck he said. So that's the ranking so far. And if you're going to do one for each of the crew members, maybe this will be a low-key way for Eggy to rank the crew from best to worst. And so far, Frankie is better than Nami. You heard it here first, folks.
That's right.
Nami, what have you done for me lately? Fucking nothing. You haven't even been in the volumes for like 4 weeks now. Frankie, he's been fighting Senor Pink. He goes up against a woman named Queen, who's this big, fat, ugly freak named Queen. Kind of looks cybernetic in a way. I don't know. She got like a backpack of special stuff on her. And there's a shot where like her backpack made it look like she had some beaded anal beads coming out of the back of her head. It reminded me of a different character we'll meet in the future. But Frankie, he suplexes this big fat woman onto Senor Pink's head. Okay, that's why he's superior to Nami in the drink ranking right now. But Eggy, we did not finish my top of mind of Trafalgar Law's true name being Trafalgar D. Water Law. Because there's a very, I would say, loose wordplay here that evidently water law is supposed to sound like maybe to Oda's Japanese ear. And do you have any guesses what the pun might be of what water law is for Mr. Trafalgar?
Well, just what comes to mind for me, first off, is waterlogged, like bogged down by water, but let me try it since I speak a little Japanese. Let me see it. Water.
The hint is Trafalgar.
Oh, wait a second. Waterloo.
Yeah, yes. So I'm not a Napoleon expert. I did some very brief research for the purposes of this podcast. The Battle of Trafalgar was like an ocean battle that Napoleon was not specific, like he was not there in person for, but he was like the strategic mastermind for. So it was his major loss, and he had to just start fighting by land from that point forward. So major loss for Napoleon, number one. The Battle of Waterloo, that's his other real big loss, and he's actually there in person for that one. So, why is this character now named after two of Napoleon's greatest military losses, Eggy? Any theories?
Well, after, I guess isn't like almost the very last thing of the volume, so I guess we get the little backstory there, which was, yeah. Well, it's interesting because, we get into the story of Whitetown. I feel like it's relevant because Whitetown, it is known this way because it has this incredible, beautiful white lead that everybody wants to use for all their pottery and all their decorations and dyes and everything like that. And of course, as it says, they know up top that lead is a horrible poison that will kill you. But then we think of, like some of the famous stories, how, lead was used in the sewer systems and in the water pipes and everything in Rome that like made everybody get all messed up over time and all ended up terribly. So we see this sort of degradation, a real like high flashy living that ends up being at the expense of everybody's life, and it ends up so horrifically because basically everybody's brutally murdered to kind of stamp out. They think it might be infectious. They don't know what's going on, or maybe they did. But in any case, they decided to stamp everybody out. And it's this incredibly violent, tragic, horrifying scenario that gets played out. So perhaps, maybe this incredible grand loss of his backstory, but then, doing whatever it took to sort of leave, or to carve forward and try to create a future, which we don't even get necessarily the concrete confirmation and moving forward of that future within this volume, although we obviously know that it is coming because he's still here. But I think that there's elements here like of having his name associated with these devastating losses, but yet he continues. And Napoleon and people say certain things about Oda's background. He might have an affinity for Napoleon because they'd say Napoleon left an everlasting impact, at least over the last couple hundred years in our societies, despite his grand losses. So maybe there's
was Napoleon some sort of big rival to the Rothschild Bank, or that whole family that we watched a movie about?
I'm fairly certain that he was, to my understanding, he was a real patriot. That he fought the law and the law won, and and it is what it is, no pun intended. But
well, my theory.
What I can say.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, just having been back on Twitter, there's an image of the Napoleon death mask that was created, when he passed away, and it's a very popular. And they moved on from like the Greek statue profile pictures. Now they like to do the Napoleon death mask profile pictures with like different colors and stuff on it. So there's something to be said about the lasting cultural impact among the young chuds of the world.
I wonder if these names on Law here, do they suggest that he is Napoleon or that he is the defeater of Napoleon? And I wonder if we'll ever meet a character named Napoleon who Law needs to defeat not once, but twice. That's my theory, folks. Napoleon, you thought Law beating him once was enough? Not quite. We'll see you in Waterloo, folks. Write it down. That's my lock of the week, number 2. So I guess we'll see if there's ever a Napoleon character.
Well, that I don't feel like he's really, other than for his namesake, I don't think he's really dipping into a Napoleonic view, although maybe. I'm not by any means a Napoleonic scholar. I just like to play Mount and Blade Napoleonic Wars, and I would run into town and die right away over and over because it was fun. But maybe Napoleon, maybe he was the bloodthirsty child also, for all I know. I'm not super on top of it, but yeah, I wouldn't mind some more Napoleon-type people in the story. Let's get some wide-ranging cultural influence, nods and things in the story. I do like that.
While we're here in the Law flashback, how about we just talk all about it before I bring up the other questions for a virgin? Because we get to see the younger versions of all the Doflamingo family, and I'm most intrigued by this Corazon character who is supposedly mute, and I'll let you go into all of it.
Well, on account of his, when we first see him here at the end of 761, on the fact that he's got a very similar, like, feathered coat to Doflamingo, I thought at first that I was like, oh damn, like why did Doflamingo used to be so screwed up like that? I don't know what's going on. But then he's kind of like, I don't know, not to say that
He's like a
Doflamingo
clown,
isn't.
right? Like he's got like face paint like a clown almost.
He's got like, yeah, kind of like maybe like a rock star slash Joker kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
Wearing this hoodie all covered in hearts. I can definitely see him being like a ladies' man for sure. Like, but
My favorite, I mean, I love it when he lights a cigarette and lights himself on fire every single time. That, like, the fact that he's a klutz or whatever, it just that cracks me up so much that he keeps lighting his head on fire.
he might be a new literal me, but historically speaking, I don't really hate kids unless they're pain in my ass for various reasons. I don't hate them just off rip. But Corazon, a little different, just basically by having Law there, he just grabs him and throws him like across the entire city.
It's like out of a 6-story window into a pile of junk. And then, but perhaps he has Law's best interests at heart, because Law stabs him in the back, and Doflamingo has a rule: if you touch anybody in my family, you're a dead man and I'll kill you personally. But Buffalo gets bribed with some candy, I believe. It does not rat it out, and for some reason, Corazon, he says an enemy stabbed me and I took care of it. Clears Law's name.
What I found interesting in this flashback, considering those pieces of the story, is that we already have, Doflamingo. We get a little bit of the Doflamingo parents' story here as well, but we were told, I think it was in the last volume, right, that he killed his father and his brother himself. And so when we're getting the flashback here to Law, the good old days when Corazon was still very much alive, Doflamingo does not have any qualms. He's like, you touch any of my family, I'm taking you out personally. So
yeah, so what's going to change, Eggy? We need the virgin prediction. How does he go from you touch my family, you're dead, to killing his own brother? What's going to happen?
Well, there's a couple of things I could see. For one, just off the rip, the fact that, you tried to kill my brother, and then he's going to cover it up for you. Like, my own brother wouldn't be honest with me about it. This is some punk kid. Like, why he's going to do this? Like, that's extremely disrespectful. That's supposed to be, like, my actual blood brother, not even necessarily, like, the other members of the family who are just here because they're that strong. So, I mean, that might be disrespectful enough, just where I could see Doflamingo needing to do an honor killing just off that by itself. However, well, we also still see, as we get to the end of this volume here, that Law, he only had 3 years to live because of his lead poisoning was taking over his body and it was going to kill him. And there was a supposing, perhaps, that maybe there was a devil fruit out there. If he was capable and worthy of attaining that devil fruit, that could then help him out and provide him with some sort of cure to his ailment. And, well, he doesn't have that yet, I don't believe, at the end of this volume. So I could see sort of maybe a double thing here, where maybe Corazon could be involved in the acquisition of the devil fruit that's then provided to Law, because we also get, prior to the flashback, we are told that this is like the most ultimate devil fruit that Law has, that everybody wants. It's the greatest of all time. So since he has that, and he did something among the Doflamingo family that was then hidden from Doflamingo, and which is disrespectful to him and his leadership, and then he comes into possession of something that Doflamingo probably had a great desire to have, and then was not able to as a result. I think some combination of these various elements are all, in my opinion, very likely to cause him to want to kill somebody for being a traitor to him and his cause. So I think it's something involving those components is what's probably going to lead to Corazon's death, in my opinion.
And in this volume, we also find out exactly why Law's devil fruit is the ultimate one, and what its secret ultimate power is. Do you remember?
Yes. it provides immortality, but it cannot provide immortality to the person with the actual fruit. Am I remembering that
Yeah,
correctly?
you have to sacrifice yourself to give somebody else immortality. We like to talk about Chekhov's guns, Eggy. Who is Law gonna kill himself to make immortal? It has to happen.
Well, I guess what would be the best use case for that I could think of is have it be somebody like Dr. Kureha, just like some informative, helpful background character, like, Master Roshi out on the island. We need somebody that we could, turn to in a time of need, somebody who's pretty intelligent, pretty wise, been through some stuff. So, what happened to...
Eggy, I've been waiting to ask you this since we met Kureha. Her big thing was, do you want to know the secret to my youth? And nobody ever wanted to know the secret. Did we just find out the secret, Eggy? Did somebody decades and decades ago have this fruit and use it on Kureha? She's 140 fucking years old. We've never met another old person in the whole story other than giants, and I guess they said the Tontatas can live to 150, I think.
Yeah, and with both the giants and the Tontatas, that's like built into their biology. So if they're like 140 years old, that's like 60 years old for us. Or the giants, if they're 200 years old, that's like 40 or 50 years old for us, So
did Kureha get the immortality surgery, Eggy?
Or she was a Tontata that ate the big fruit or something. She was a giant who ate the small fruit.
And she became like the opposite of gullible, and that's why Chopper was so gullible. It like transferred to him.
I guess I feel like any of that could be as likely as having somebody use the fruit on her. Because, I mean, as helpful as she was to Drum Island, was she that helpful that you have to sacrifice your life with the most powerful devil fruit in the entire existence?
Eggy,
I don't know.
if you're 140, 100 years ago, I doubt she lived on this fucking island. She was probably like Gold Roger's grandpa's doctor on his fucking ship and went on some amazing adventure.
Okay, that's very fair. I didn't give it that consideration. And if the devil fruits come back after somebody dies, and hey, maybe they were in a pinch. Yeah, maybe she was on a great pirate voyage, and like, oh fuck, we need the doctor. What can we do? Fuck it, I'll do it. I'll do the sacrifice for us all. Yeah, you know what? I think there's reason to believe that's very possible.
At some point in the story, Kureha's going to answer the riddle of, do you want to know the secret? And that would be a good punchline. I don't know what else would be, but Oda sets shit up, 25 years ago that he plans to have a punchline for, and that could be one of them. But that was a branch off question. Back to who is Law going to, at some point in the story, unless Oda's a hack and never uses this power he introduced, who's he going to use it on?
Well, forgive me that I don't remember his name very well off the top of my head.
Beppo, of course, the polar bear.
The bear, not even Beppo, the panda bear that was like wearing the cool shirt from like
Panda Man.
I'm thinking, like I said, my apologies, I'm a little spacing on the name here, but the man who bubbled the ship for Fishman Island, what was it, Dr.
Rayleigh?
Yeah, Rayleigh. Silver's Rayleigh. I feel like he's a man who's got enough wits, enough gumption, enough, for his age. He's been through a lot, but he's also still got some fire to him. I feel like he would be somebody that could play that utility role that we're gonna want him to be immortal, because he could maybe even be useful later on for when it's time to get to One Piece. Silver's Rayleigh, he's immortal, and he remembers this. He was with Gold Roger, so let's go butter him up maybe for our final voyage or whatever. And he's got a lot of know-how and a lot of, like I said, just more of that. Because even my good friend over at Reverse Mountain, who, not Laboon, obviously.
Crocus?
A little spacey. Yeah, Crocus.
Hey, it's okay
Crocus.
to be spacey on One Piece names. We are introduced to 100 new ones every single arc. Even I forget, and I've been through this shit 6 times.
Right.
I forgot Shamu's name for the longest time.
Yeah, I don't know why I got so Laboon pilled. Maybe it was the Thriller Bark helped me get it locked in.
Yeah.
But like just comparatively, Crocus, yeah, he was also, had that interaction with Gold Roger and everything like that. But he's just resigned himself for these many years to this place, kind of calmed it down. So just like compared to a couple different utility-wise, seasoned people, I think that's where my smart money out of the people that come to mind for me would be Silver's Rayleigh.
Not Luffy.
No, I mean, that's cool, but I feel like Luffy, he's a real powerful man. I think he could kind of fare for himself, and he's kind of he's cutting forward. He's pushing forward. He's going through and he's opening more and more forward as he goes. I feel like if he has somebody in his pocket who's this seasoned, very intelligent and familiar veteran that he could call on to help him out, I think that might be overall better. It's like he's stacking his deck too much otherwise, but that's just how I feel.
Now, without spoiling anything specific, I do want to give my theory of how this is going to be utilized. We saw homeboy Hody Jones. He took a bunch of pills that made him turn all white, his hair's all white, and it made him super strong. And that was cool. But what was the kickback? He aged rapidly, he got extremely old because he ran out of pills. Moral of the story, don't run out of drugs, kids. Keep doing them. Do not stop or you will rapidly age. Now, I'm not saying Law could use it on Hody so he could retain that white form forever without getting old from it, but there is the question of stamina, and Law brings it up in this very volume, like, oh, it actually was good I was handcuffed and you carried me all the way here, because now I have all my stamina. I could use my special powers to teleport us fucking way up here and then way up there. So maybe if Luffy, in the final fight against the ultimate bad guy, whoever that may be, if Luffy needs stamina and he's using all of his powers and he's back in Annie's lobby, when he would use his powers, he would shrink down to little tiny mini Luffy. What if there were no drawbacks to Luffy's greater forms in the future? Like that might be useful to have eternal youth plugged in there just to survive that final fight. And at some point, Law is going to be up against enemies even he can't defeat, so just it's time to nope out of there and give Luffy your life.
Well, that is a very good argument, I will say. And I think that under those circumstances, it does make the most sense. Even just as what we see now, even aside from using his gear forms and things in combat, he already had his whole adrenaline saga during the Paramount War that allegedly might have taken a significant amount of time off his life. So
that's true, yeah. And Magellan's poison took 20 years off his fucking life. So if Luffy's burning the candle at both ends consistently, maybe it's time to just have an eternal candle.
Well, and I could say also, probably what I would say most strongly for me in this scenario is that, well, he's going to be king of the pirates. Why not be able to savor that position forever, I guess, because I think combat-wise, I feel like he could have what it takes to ascend to the very top of his own abilities that he has so far and fine-tuning those abilities and more training and as time goes on. But yeah, if he gets up there and he's worn himself down to the nubs, just like with Gold Roger, and has a terminal thing that's going to kill him and there's nothing he can do about it, that could be avoided by having some more immortality. So I think I would
at the
like
end of the
it most for
story,
that reason.
if the world government, if Israel is defeated and taken down and there's a new world order and the Marines are these evil cops who are killing citizens constantly just to appease the celestial dragons, we're going to need a benevolent, all-powerful protector in this new world order. And if Luffy's just for the next 1,000 years gets to travel and visit every island in the world and beat up bad guys, and we can't fuck around because fucking Monkey D. Luffy might show up. Instead of making just Fishman Island his territory, the entire globe will be his territory, and you can't fuck around because I'm sure they'll make some new technology. Usopp will figure out some teleportation shit, and Luffy could be anywhere. You don't fuck around. We're making the world a place of one piece, you might say.
Oh my lord.
Oh my fucking god.
Lord.
Luffy better be an immortal protector, a world police force. That's my hyped ending of One Piece. That's my third lock of the week.
The 1,000-year Rufy will bring, a complete peace to all nations. It was foretold. That's right.
Yeah, the Fourth Reich is the Luffy Reich, but this time he's doing it right. Protecting all peoples from this fishman scum. So I think mostly our top of minds took up 50 minutes, although that wasn't top of mind anymore, I don't think. But let's move into some questions for Virgin. But first, Eggy, we actually have a new member of the crew.
Okay, here we go.
We're up to 69 total members on the channel. I like that. Much better than 7. Let's just keep it at 69. Where on the crew should Sean 12345 ish? Sean 12345 ish. Where does he go? Sean spelled Shaun.
Well, there's a guy who is named Sean O'Malley, who I'm going to be watching on UFC while I do a food challenge. So I think a striker, a veteran striker, because I don't think we have enough fisticuff action in here. And he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish championships. He forgot because he got knocked upside the head a couple times, and that's why his name is what it is. So our veteran striking combat expert is now this man, Mr. Sean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish.
Eggy, what's that song? Oh god, I don't know the lyrics. Da 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Da 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 da. You know what I'm talking about?
Is that the 5-ish song? I ain't talking about like his name, but the Jewish dollar bill man.
I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was like on the radio maybe 10 years ago.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, it's
6,
like kids
7,
like
8,
singing,
10,
I think.
Da
Da da da da da da 1, 2, 3, 4. I think maybe Asperger was listening to it or something. It might be some rap.
It does
shit.
sounds like children's nursery rhyme song based on the melody.
Yeah, but it's like a real song, I think, unless he's just listening to like Kids Bop or something, which he might have been. So Sean's what? Just our resident puncher?
A striking combat expert.
Okay.
So that could even be, it could be punching, it could be throwing elbows.
Do you want to give him a devil fruit while you're at it to make it more spicy?
How about, I think he would be, oh no, because we know the slow fruit. I want to, is there like something that's a self-afflicted, but it would be like, he can see his strikes like slowed down for precision, but they actually strike in full time. I don't know if there is such a thing, if they're like such a premise.
It's like Sherlock Holmes from the Robert Downey Jr. movies when you can see the whole fight play out in his head in slow motion. So he can like
that.
He can see like 20 seconds
almost
into the future, but only for what his fists are doing.
I think there's something like this in Dungeons and Dragons called combat awareness. So I guess he could have like the I don't know, because everything's just a word and same word fruit and aware fruit. I don't know.
What if he had such good observation hockey he could see the future?
Okay, yeah, I think that could be. Maybe he doesn't need a fruit. Might be for the best because if he's very skilled, physically speaking, maybe he wants the ability to swim still. So maybe no fruits for the moment.
Okay, we've got some questions for Virgin that anybody can ask by becoming a member of the channel, joining the Discord, and hopping into the questions for Virgin channel. Corey wants to know, and he says that hyped for Eggy to finally be caught up to Biggs in the next volume. Now, I actually forgot that this happened, but I think a few years ago on the Mumkey and Biggs live stream podcast, we like had a random number generator choose an episode of One Piece for us to watch and review. And I might be wrong, correct me, but I think it landed on Usopp shooting Sugar, like the greatest Usopp scene of all time, and I think Biggs and me reviewed that. But let me know if I got that wrong, since I forgot we even did that to begin with. But then he continues, hypothetically, what would Eggy say to Biggs to convince him to legitimately give One Piece a try?
Well, at this point, I mean, I don't like. It's just so good, but I feel like if I needed to, I don't know how succinct I could be, because there's just so much to say at this point, like it's very engaging. It's very there's humor, there's action. It can really give you an emotional pull. It's just really the full package. Being too deep to give a good pitch beyond these things, but that's what comes to mind for me. I might have to, fine tailor it to his desires a little more, but as much time as I've spent with Mr. Biggs in my life, I just don't know if I would offhand know the best One Piece pitch for his tastes.
I mean, I had him watching evidently one of the best episodes of the show, and he still doesn't give a fuck. So some people maybe just, they don't have any interest in investing that much time, and I don't blame him, because he's got a real job and I don't. So I got more time to read One Piece all day.
Well, all right. I'm gonna say, I guess it's not the most succinct, but action-packed, humorous, the very atmospheric, emotional investment, parallels to our own world. Even if this volume came out 12 years ago, I think it still holds up very well in that regard. So I think those are all things that I would say to try to get anybody that is not familiar. Like, it's gonna have everything that you want. Like, don't take it at face value. Oh, you don't like pirates, or you don't like anime or characters that look like this or whatever. Just get into it, and it's gonna start speaking to you. I almost guarantee it.
I think if somebody is convinced they hate the concept of pirates, I think One Piece could make them themselves wish they were a pirate. Because wouldn't this be the ideal way to live? Just on a boat with your 9 best friends, going on adventures and shit. I'm very envious of this crew.
It speaks to the human spirit. As soon as any human could figure out how to make a boat, we had Vikings back 2,000 years ago, riding over on tree stumps and stuff across the ocean. So
that's how they found Australia. They said, I hope there's fucking something out there, because we're going. We're just gonna keep going.
That's right.
Okay, Shogun wants to know, fuck, marry, kill, Vivi, Nami, and Robin. I think I could do this.
We're fucking Robin. We're marrying Vivi. We're killing Nami.
Exactly, yes. Yes, that's exactly right.
I mean, with all due respect to the question asker, I think it's not a difficult question there. Some uglier people, we could fight it out a little more.
Yeah, originally I was thinking, I can't kill any of them, but then, oh no, Nami, I can kill Nami. It's fine. It's okay. And then the next 8 replies is people answering themselves. See, Robin, Nami, Vivi, Robin, Nami. So they all got it. One of them might have got it right, but. Demented Dust Cole wants to know, as our glorious captain and vice captain, what are your special powers / skills and weapons of choice?
Well, I have the persuade fruit, I feel like, because I don't know how I could wake up every morning. I'm like, wow, I'm just some guy who barely graduated high school, a repeat criminal, who's never really had any ambition or responsibility in life. Somehow hundreds of people have always acted like something I say should be regarded as helpful advice that should be listened to. So I'm like, I gotta have some kind of special ability in that regard. My weapon of choice,
Betty fruit.
I've always been keen on scimitars personally, and I think it's very pirate coded.
Is that a type of sword?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering if you would have a sword, or if you would have a brute, orc style big wooden mallet or stone mallet or something, but you think you'd be more of a slice and dice kind of guy.
Yeah, it's something about the it's more of a mid-range blade. It's not like a claymore or anything crazy like that. It's just I've never been in any really, not that I've done much real combat, and it probably is that I was never super physically strong for swinging a giant sword around in real life, but in video games either. I never liked that like sort of all-in heavy striker mentality. I like to have a little bit of mid-range, a little more control, and then I can kind of have my distance, my speed. With having a one-handed weapon, I could have some kind of shield or something then too if I wanted to, or just have that ability to kind of come in and out and kind of. So yeah, I'm gonna go for a scimitar, more so than a saber, which is just kind of like a long, straight blade. The scimitar has that sort of flaring towards the head. I like that too because it's sort of like in my swings, it's a little bit more weighted, perhaps, even if it's just based off of like the air pressure or whatever, like around the blade. I'm certainly no expert, but that's gonna be my pick.
Would you have a devil fruit that contributes to your like slashing attacks?
Well, the persuasion fruit has been helpful. I could see it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't think you need persuasion fruit. I think that's just like a natural charisma. I don't think you need a fruit for that. Because if you have that in real life, why would you need a fruit for it in the One Piece world?
True. I think Kurama in Yu Yu Hakusho with his whip. Maybe I could have something like with my sword that like I could like have the sword blade lengthen, or maybe like it could.
Like that ripple motherfucker Diamante makes his sword go all fucking crazy, chase you around all ripply.
But that was actually also in Skypiea. One of Eneru's guys had.
Ohm.
Yeah, Ohm had that.
Fucked up chopper, I believe.
So there could be something there, maybe, and maybe it would be helpful. So maybe like a living sword, maybe like a. I don't know, I'd have to think about.
You have your sword eat a devil fruit, so you could still eat one later if we find the ope fruit lying around.
That's a good idea. Like, you can eat like a what animal would I want it to be? Like a snake. I think if I the snake, the scimitar eats the cobra fruit, and it can like lash out. I mean, I don't know. It's just very coincidental, but I feel like that's how it would come together for me to make sense in a combat setting.
Okay, I'll be quick because we should probably get back to the volume, but instead of eating like a monkey devil fruit, I'll just say if Beppo can be a walking, talking humanoid polar bear, why can't I be that in monkey form? I'm sure they exist somewhere. We saw those two, Masura and those fucking ugly monkey guys back before Jaya, so I guess I'm like that. And as for a devil fruit power, because I don't think I would use a weapon, I'm probably just hitting you with my monkey fist, but as much as Eggy hates it, I like something like the door fruit. Go into your own dimension, or pull anything you want out from anywhere. So just an endless supply of whatever you want just on your person. And also the mirror fruit, which you have not seen yet. It has a similar ability to the door fruit that I appreciate. It would not be that fun out at sea, but if I lived like, here, I would love to have the mirror fruit. But Eggy, where do you want to go next in the volume? Because we've covered a lot of it so far, but there's still a lot to go.
Well, I think before we, if we want to get any chronologicals in, maybe let's go ahead and touch on these cover stories, which
good thinking.
Did get a lot more fleshed out. Jinbei and the sea kitten, I call him maybe the crying kitten because it seems to be in horrible suffering and sobbing at all times.
Could we call it a catfish?
Yes. Yes.
The crying catfish.
And I mean, I would cry too. The way these sea dogs is more like sea mogs, because I mean they're super studly with their big mustaches and cool aviator sunglasses underwater for some reason, even though that their eyes should just be flooded with water regardless. Whatever the case is going on, I mean, the sea kittens, or the catfish, I'm gonna keep saying the catfish, and his continuous miserable tear shedding is completely understandable for that reason alone. But
Jinbei is a bit of a Columbo here. He's solving a mystery that even I did not remember this occurring. But the kitten's trying to find his lost home, and the dog officer says, "Oh, he lives in the same town as me. Let's go investigate." And the town is just gone. It's like what is this, underwater Lelucia? It's like it never existed. It's just gone completely. Jinbei has to investigate. They find the dog's house tipped over somewhere. But what I completely forgot about, the Sea Kings like attacked this port town and then left the kittens ruinous, and I mean as in like it looks like ruins, like underwater ruins, left it on the surface. What the fuck is going on, Eggy?
Well, so when they were ascending from Fishbane Island, were they going through the Neptunes then? Because I can remember when they were on their way down, I think that there was some Neptunian activity. But I'm a little bit tangled up just because we did just watch One Piece movie 4, where there's just a scene with a bunch of the Neptunians all gathered. That's largely irrelevant.
Briefly before they find the port town, Jinbei helps a sinking ship, and then he reads their newspapers and finds out Luffy has a 400 million berry bounty. Did we know this before, that it was 400 million?
I feel like that is an update, because this is also about their alliance. So then this is, post Port Hazard, because that probably was reported to the Marine people
after
by
Punk Hazard, yeah.
Smoker, I would imagine.
And then on the next page of the newspaper, we see the story of the sea beasts raging in the port town, and they supposedly dropped off like this underwater city on the surface. At least that's how I interpreted it.
It's very curious because I don't know if we've seen exactly an example of them just going into a rage unprovoked. I think that it's been probably alluded to that it does happen. They're a great danger that all sailors try to avoid. But I kind of almost wonder, with the nature of these ruins, and they look a little bit fantastical as they're hauled up into this port town, is there maybe something to do specifically with what's in these ruins? Was it just a raging attack that they said all of a sudden they're up there? Or would it be that they're like, oh shit, hey everybody, beep, 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 beep. They're raging about something that's in there and they're throwing it up for some human intervention? Very curious.
Yeah, we know that they're somewhat intelligent because we can hear their thoughts in Fishman Island, and they're like communicating with each other about how they're waiting for like their sovereign to return or something. So they don't just do things out of animalistic primal rage necessarily. Maybe there's some deep ancient history reason why they think this belongs in this place.
Yeah, I think I don't know, that's where my heart goes to. I don't know, they've said these animals are all just a bunch of dumb beasts that are reactionary, but as somebody who's been called a dumb reactionary beast myself, I feel like there's a little bit more going on in the brain than what they might see. So I think that Jinbei's probably about to pop out and see if he can find a way to get these ruins back where they came from, and he might find something interesting upon doing so. And I think that's going to be my prediction as to where this cover story is heading towards in the future.
Yeah, because otherwise, what, does the sea cat just have to live on the surface now? He better return its home to the ocean somehow.
They're going to flip the dog's hut back over and live together. It's a beautiful tale of dogs and cats finally getting along.
Yeah, his house was tipped someplace else completely, so yeah, maybe it will work out. Okay, if we're gonna go a little chronologically, I enjoyed the scene of the slave Tontatas in the factory, finally getting the gumption to overthrow their masters. Oh, if only history would have played out that way, we would have been saved a lot of pain. But
that's right.
The flying beetles outside the window are like, they're lying to us, attack! Like, oh shit, well, a friend wouldn't lie, time to attack the slave master. I love that. And I never realized how racist the Tontatas were until this podcast.
And, sometimes big things come in small packages, including big racism. But, do we think that in our world, if UFOs showed up in the sky and started giving us all messages in some kind of language about, it's all lies, you need to revolt, would that be a great way for our own government to make us put in unrest? Are we too psyoped to believe the UFOs if we get this great language, or could we possibly unite like the Tontatas?
Eggy, you need to read a book I let you borrow called The Three Body Problem. I think you're really
Body Problem.
You're gonna enjoy that quite a bit. That's all I'll say. It's some good shit. Hey, in the SBS of 753, Vivi's official number is 5.5, which I think is complete evidence that Oda considers her an official Straw Hat, as do I.
She likes pigeons, so she's, in line with other great people that we've, had that have impacted the story in very positive ways.
Eggy, 70 minutes into the podcast, I want you to tell me everything you know and love about Kanjuro, the new character we've been hearing about for months now. He's finally on our screen.
Well, I like how his title is... This is just what comes to mind for me. The first appearance of him that I'm seeing, he's Evening Shower Kanjuro. And as somebody with long hair, this is also how my hair looks when I do evening showers, because it's a really beautiful thing. You have all the hours in the night to let your hair dry naturally. You don't got to hit it with the towel all crazy. Hair dryers under that. It gets all naturally very soaky and doesn't get any of that abrasion tangling up. So the evening shower nickname in the hair was my first thing. Second thing, I'm like, is this a man? What is this? This outfit looks like a schoolgirl's outfit. The paintbrush was actually the last thing that I noticed, but him, he painted himself into the wall. I'm not sure if it was just a natural sort of camouflage that he had going on.
Yeah, so
I'm not sure if I...
His devil fruit allows him to draw things, and then they manifest, they become corporeal and real. So I guess to fill in that potential plot hole of why was he not turned into a toy, it's because he was down in the basement of the toy house, but he drew a fake wall to hide behind. And he can also draw himself food, but it just doesn't taste very good. So he survived for a long time doing that.
Well, I think it's... a really fantastic power because he looks a little bit, possibly some autistic characteristics, and I think if there was an autistic person who had this kind of power, this is probably how it would play out. Maybe do some Chris Chan style, like Sonichu drawings. They'd be coming out looking like something out of a child's nightmare, but hey, if it works, it works.
Well, that's the comedic irony, of course, is that the guy with the I can draw anything and it comes to life power is a terrible artist. So it would be funny if a Chris Chan had this and just a really ugly Sonichu started running around, which is exactly what would happen. And even as a comedically bad artist, Kanjuro is still much better than I would be. I would not want the things I draw to actually come to life and help me out.
Yeah, I'm more for the abstract, by which I mean I could just make have it turn out really ugly and terrible and then say I meant to do that. It's all well and good for protecting my ego, but creating something that's actually worth anything, not so much.
Now, I don't know how long he's had this power, Eggy, but don't you think if this is your devil fruit power, you should probably become talented at drawing, and because it would be extremely useful and powerful?
Or maybe, draw, let's say, any kind of way to get out of here besides just, I guess, I don't know. Maybe he's not so great at combat. Maybe hiding was the right move and waiting, I guess, but... seeing as the first thing that happens immediately after him revealing himself is drawing a way to start escaping. Were they really firing on all cylinders 24 hours a day? You couldn't have found 5 minutes.
Yeah, if he can draw a bird that can fly him out of the pit, why? Yeah, why was he still hiding this whole time?
If he's been seeing Doflamingo officers patrolling or something that's been keeping him, should have got to hide. You could probably get a kind of a very vague general sketch of what they're wearing, to the point at least you might be able to sneak past. If they could be walking around up there in town in giant fish suits, you could probably copy 80% accuracy Doflamingo officer garb and just walk out, even for that matter, but it's still... Yeah,
I guess he kind of has a shittier version. A shitty version of Kinemon's fruit where he could make clothes, but he has to draw them, so they're gonna look terrible. If a 10-year-old did a drawing of Doflamingo, that might be actually pretty funny if they pulled that off. And then Kanjuro, he's not always using his powers to be the most helpful. He sees an angry mob and draws them this horribly made ladder that they could barely manage their way to get up. So Like, why could they not erase it? Like, as soon as he knows he made the mistake, why are they doing nothing to stop the ladder's existence? I guess I don't know how it works. Could he not draw a barrier at the top to stop them from accessing the roof?
Yeah, or draw like a torch or something to burn the ropes. I don't know. But yeah, I guess you can't erase it because it's gonna have to be if it's being painted, it's like with permanent marker. I guess you can't. Maybe you can pour a bunch of water on it. I don't know. We never explore that. It's probably not the case. But yeah, I mean, you can at least or drop a giant pair of scissors, start chopping it, or an axe or something. But none of that happens.
But I guess as useless and unhelpful as he was, he does draw the Usopp. Was it a doll? He like drew like an Usopp head toy that would trigger her PTSD. So ultimately, Kanjuro also contributes to saving everybody on the entire island. So good for him for just now appearing in the story.
That's true. Sometimes, what do they say? Art is supposed to comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable. I'd say Sugar's probably pretty disturbed, but if you see a giant Usopp with his eyes and his tongue bulging out, flying at you, that's probably going to disturb anybody, even the most disturbed people.
Well, the setup is very brief in chapter 756 of like justifying why this would trigger Sugar so badly, where one of the henchmen with a long nose is trying to bring her a snack plate full of sausages, and she's like freaking out about both of these things, like, get away from me. So I guess if you've never been defeated in 10 years and then like your whole enterprise is destroyed by this long nose guy, maybe 30 minutes later in your life you would still be terrified of him, and that his image in a toy would be enough to trigger you. I buy it, I guess.
Well, you know, I can believe this from a personal relative experience of, you know, having a YouTube channel get mass flagged by an A-log to suspension at one point, and then people trolling me for a bit thereafter by creating accounts pretending to be him with like very similar usernames and like his same profile picture, just like cropped to fit or whatever. You're like, oh, I'm reporting you, and I'd be like, no.
You got sugared.
So I guess that's right.
All the toys turn back into human in that moment. What next, Eggy? What comes to mind next?
Oh, I liked throughout the volume here just how Bartholomew is so committed, like just incredibly devoted, like at an extreme level through all parts here as he's helping, like he's watching Zoro do his thing and he's just, you know, reduced to tears. He's helping Luffy out. Luffy says thank you. He just like is crumpled over, just reduced to tears about how thankful he is. He says at one point, I'd be happy to die for Luffy. I mean, this is, if we're talking about, you know, real people to keep, I guess, I know I was saying Silver's Rayleigh earlier, just as something that was kind of sensible in my mind, but I mean, Bartolomeo, the way that he's playing out in this volume especially, but I guess since we've met him, he seems like, I don't know, sometimes you don't want a super fan to be up next to you, but I think this guy might be a real, very important, key, and helpful figure, more than I would have anticipated off the jump when we first met him, to be honest.
Do you think Bartolomeo will join the crew?
I don't know 100%. I think we had talked about this before, that he can deploy some very important defensive capabilities, and we definitely see him expressing those kinds of capabilities here in this volume. So I think I'm just going to double down on it even more strongly and say that he has a place there for that reason.
Eggy, are you ready for a game of popularity polls?
Oh, yes.
At the end of this volume, Oda included, I guess every 5 years or so, they do a Japanese-only vote of the most popular characters. And I told Eggy, do not look at it. We're going to play a little game on the podcast, see if Eggy understands the psyche of the average Japanese 14-year-old in the year 2015, whatever the fuck this was. Eggy, who do you think is voted number one?
Number one most popular? Well, I think, you know, I'm just going to give it a me treatment here. Luffy's always number one, you know, it is what it is. He's too locked in.
Correct. Yes, Luffy's always the best. Now, this, I think, is the first poll since, like, a little, maybe Amazon Lily-ish. Like, I don't know if we've had a poll since Marineford.
We had a guest on. Who was it? Did we have E-Rich on for the one? I can't remember if it was E-Rich and Heartsy. Because I can just remember it having, like, it was like 120 characters. Some of them were, like, completely forgettable, and some of them were like way down there even though they were actual characters, and there was like nothingness that was ranked like in the 50s and higher. But I did not look at anyone on this volume, so I'm completely in the dark, to be honest.
Well, I'm guessing according to this, Boa Hancock has never been on the poll before, so I'm guessing the previous poll was around Saba Odi time. And with that being said, where do you think Boa Hancock debuts on the poll?
Well, just like a great man once said, 21 and up so you could have a beer with your special lady. I think she was a real stunner though, so I think I'm gonna say number 20.
Boa Hancock is top 10. Number 10 most beloved One Piece character. She must have left a real impression in the Marineford saga. And what's heartbreaking is
she did do a lot.
It breaks my heart that right below Boa Hancock at number 11 is Nico Robin. Are you fucking kidding me, people? Robin is clearly the superior woman.
I guess I'm gonna put myself in the mind of a teenager at that time. Boa Hancock might be top tier OTP waifu fuel. She wants Luffy bad. She's powerful. She did a lot for him. I mean, even if we're talking like, Luffy Vivi OTP, I mean, she did, a fair amount, but
she's the pirate queen, you motherfucker. Vivi and Luffy for life.
I don't know. Boa Hancock's giving her a run for the money. I gotta say it. She's got a little more going on. She might rise the snake out of the basket, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh,
God. Talking about boas. Either way.
Hey, speaking of top 10. Right after he was introduced in Saba Odi, Trafalgar Law was immediately number 10. Last time we checked in with the poll, he's number 10. Where does Law land on the poll now after we've seen him in Punk Hazard and a bunch of Dressrosa?
I'm thinking if they're keeping it real, I'm going to put him at number 7.
What if I told you Law was 300 votes away from being number 1 ahead of Luffy?
Well, once again, I guess putting myself in the position here of the people reading at this as it was released. He was new, fresh, and exciting, and he was a guy with a lot of, the backstory here was tragic, a lot more emotional investment coming in. I guess I can see it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm having some biases. I'm keeping all my straw hats as the top dogs, but sometimes you got that fresh face that's coming in hot with special powers, the greatest in the world, the greatest that have ever been. I guess that's a very fair assessment for him to be number 2 in that case.
I think it would have been extreme if Law beat Luffy in One Piece as the number 1 most fan favorite character. Like, it was close. 300 fucking votes, people. Law could have been number 1 for a time. Which means somebody got pushed out of the number 2 spot. Do you want to guess who number 3 is?
I feel like I want to say Leo's got to be up here. I feel like if we got any recency bias going, I feel like
Eggy. I said somebody got kicked out of the number 2 spot. Leo wasn't number 2 back then.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, sorry.
It's all good. We're an hour and a half into it.
Zoro was number 2.
Yeah. Zoro has been defeated by Law, which is tragic for Zoro fans. Hey, speaking of characters who have not...
Leo's got to be top 10, right?
Let's go to Leo. Now, I was actually disgusted because I also looked for Leo specifically. And do you remember a Tontada named Wicca?
No.
Completely forgettable, one of the Tontadas, Wicca. Wicca is 86. And that's the highest ranking a Tontada gets. Leo is 101.
You're right.
Leo's not even top 100, Eggy. I couldn't believe it.
This poll, I need recounts. This poll's invalidated at that point. I don't know. I'm gonna go look at the poll now because
No! Don't look at it. I'm still doing my game.
Oh.
How dare you? Eggy.
I didn't go there.
I mean, I love Leo so much. You for a second thought he might be number 2, and this motherfucker's 101. But I will say he's in good company because he's tied at 101 with Gin and Juice from Krieg's Pirates, and Tyrannosaurus, the pet mouse. All of the best characters are 101. Why? They should be top 20. Why is Boa Hancock top 10? Disgusting. Fucking Dellinger and Gladius are higher. Go ahead.
You know, I guess the Dellinger character, it's not my favorite. I could see it being a bit, got some edge to it in a way that maybe the younger or that the audience would appreciate at this time. We've never had anybody, because when we had Mr. 2 being kind of a little bit androgynous, it's like, okay, kind of cartoonish though, where Dellinger's kind of like got this assassin's kind of sharpness to him while also still, being a bit of a cross-dresser, a little bit androgynous. So maybe that was an appealing type of character at this time.
They thought it was a woman, yeah. In the SBS, they asked if it was a chick.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, Oda, I'm sick of your love of big boobs, so I only get a hot, flat-chested. He's like, oh, that's a man.
It's a trap.
Which I thought was pretty apparent, but...
Eggy, speaking of characters who were not on the previous poll, where do you think Mr. Sabo premiered? We see him as a child, he gets killed off, and now he comes back, and he's the second strongest Revolutionary Army member, and he's a fucking badass, and he takes Ace's fruit, and he's cool as hell.
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna anticipate he's number 15. Should probably be higher than that, but after what I've been hearing, I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna say 15.
Sabo takes spot number 5. And the real tragedy is that he steals it. The previous number 5 was Ace, who is now number 6. That sucks.
Ace is still number 6. How that go?
Yeah. Ace has been dead, and he's still top 6.
I feel like as the years have gone by, I don't want to sound stale even in saying this, but I think that somewhere along the line, I got too current year brained. Whereas, I think maybe back in this time, if I was 15 years old in 2015, I'd be like, yeah, of course, all the badass dudes would be kicking hella ass. And, well, yeah, Bo Hancock, she's fucking hot, bro. She's got big tits, yeah. And she wants Luffy, yeah, I want her too, yeah. I think there's a time in my life where all of these choices would have been, no-brainers and obvious, sensible things. But I guess I'm coming at this just too old man brain now and too current year brain. I can feel the changes, like how the air pressure makes my bones hurt now at my advanced age.
Eggy, let's do one more question, and then I'll let you peruse the poll yourself. Who do you think ranks higher, Kyros or Bartolomeo?
For my own feelings, I would like Bartolomeo to be up higher. But I feel like Kyros with his... I think he's got sort of that cool, legendary, undefeated warrior status. He's got the one leg, and he had the backstory, too. I think there's enough there that could put Kyros as the top dog in that match-off.
Kyros is 31. Pretty high for a premiere. Bartolomeo, number 9.
Okay. Yeah. As soon as I heard 31, I was like, "Yeah, there's no way that he's gonna be lower than that."
All he had to do is write in a character who loves Luffy, and he's immediately top 9. Just a character that the fans can relate to, a big piece of shit who everybody hates, but at least they like Luffy.
That's right. Okay. 69,000 votes in total, and I'm paging down to it in the first time here. Let's see.
Yeah, give us your
If
initial
anything is
shocks and
completely-
reactions.
Okay, all looks about right. I mean, wow. Marco to be number 12 above Frankie and Doflamingo and Usopp for that matter.
Above
What the
Usopp is
fuck?
a crime. Usopp should be top 10 in every poll, and he's never even close, I don't think.
Honestly, I mean, like, really, truly, in this volume as it goes, I mean, I guess but his popularity, it has nothing to do with what's going on in the story. People are just looking at it and like, oh, he looks cool. So, and this picture of Marco does look pretty badass. He's got like his whole Flame Phoenix thing going on in the picture. It should be like mug shots. You gotta just like be looking very like straight on forward. You can't be having cool shit going on, okay? You're swaying the children's votes. They're not agreeing with me as a 34-year-old man a decade after this was released, okay? So it's not right. But I do like, at least I could say, if we're talking about people blast from the past who are ranking highly enough, Mr. Bon Clay, Mr. 2 being in the top 20. You know what? That's cool. Perona being up there, that's, yeah, I can appreciate it.
This is interesting here. So Bon Clay, it says he previously was ranked 23, and now he's up to 20. But that previous vote would have been before everything in the prison. So people liked him just based on Alabasta that much. And then, like, when he gets to the really juicy, amazing character stuff, he only increases 3 ranks. Eh, whatever. I like seeing my waifu Perona at 21.
Karu's still outranking Tashigi even after Punk Hazard. That's very agreeable.
Shirahoshi at 28 is absurd. Like, who sincerely likes Shirahoshi's character? Fucking giant crybaby bitch. No thank you. Above, I mean, Koala and Rebecca also shouldn't be this high at 29 and 30. Why the fuck do people like Koala? More than Kiro's? Ugh. Buggy's only 34. How's Buggy below Beppo? What is happening? Fucking idiots.
Fujitoro, we just saw the man call a fucking meteor through the birdcage here. He's blind and he's got gravity. And speaking of which, in this volume, he's fighting Sabo and he's able to turn gravity sideways and like blow a bunch of fucking buildings, turn him into a Pringles can. And he is being outranked by Beppo. Yeah, and Koala for that matter, but...
And then Senior Pink being 1 rank below Rob Lucci is a little insane. Like, that might be recency bias, you fucking freaks. And what's Pell doing at 43? No business being in the top 100, Pell.
I think I should mention, there's a couple more things I'll mention. We have a 5-way tie at number 88 between Arlong, Gaimon, Kaya from Skypiea, and then 2 people
Kaya,
Shachi and Falafra.
Kaya is Usopp's girlfriend.
From Syrup Village, yeah.
Wait, who's Shachi and Falafra? Who are these people? Are they in Law's?
I don't recognize them at all whatsoever.
Sachi might be like in Law's crew or something. I don't recognize him. Yeah, Sachi and Penguin, I think, are 2 members of Law's crew. That sounds familiar. Which I don't know if Penguin's even on here. Leo being out of the top 100 is is bullshit. What were you saying?
I was trying to see if was it Kami? She's the one from Skypiea then, right? Is that right? Kimi?
No, that's the mermaid.
Maybe I'm just forgetting their names. Oh right, yeah. Okay, so I think Skypeans are just wiped off of the popularity pool at this point. It is what it is, because I can't remember their names, obviously. One other great grievance with this poll, number 71, is Film Z Zephyr. So we're getting some guy from a movie that has not even anything to do with anything. But it must be pretty good if it's able to, if enough readers watch that movie and loved him enough to get him up on the manga's popularity poll and beating hundreds of others, or a couple hundred others.
We were thinking of Conus. That's the name of the Skypiea girl.
Conus, all right.
Which, if she's on here,
I'm
not seeing it.
Top 5 animals is one of the separate lists here. We have from greatest to least, Chopper, Beppo, Karu, Camel the Penguin, and Tyrannosaurus. Maybe a little bit of recency bias there, but Obviously, Karu, especially with his great duck racing video game, is always going to have to, definitely be up there. But Beppo's doing his thing, though.
Beppo's only moment is being horny on Amazon Lily, wondering if there's female bears. Certainly does not belong above Karu. And I'm glad that Tangent is the number 4 old man.
Better than Zeph, but you know what? Close rankings, though.
Okay, anything from the rest of the volume before we take off for the week, Eggy?
Well, there's also kind of a cool showdown here between Diamante and Curios in, I think it's 757. He approaches Rebecca first, but Curios ends up coming and slashing. The whole setup here of like this sunflower field and all this openness reminded me of Sekiro in the final boss battle, which I think has been referenced on this show before by me. But still, I guess there's just something that always is going to scratch an itch between, two swords people ready to fight each other in an epic battle in a big giant open field with just a little bit of foliage to track your footsteps.
Well, as a Sekiro player, Eggy, if I recall, that final battle is also like the first fight you have in the game, just to show you how hard it's going to be. If you are skilled enough to win that fight, does it end the game or does it just say fuck you?
To be honest, the only time I did that fight was on Boss Rush on my cousin's save file, so I never actually played through the entire game myself to even know.
Oh. You never played all through Sekiro?
Nope.
Oh, I had fun. It's pretty good.
I'd go over to his place and just get drunk and high, and we'd just do boss rushes and make like both of us get pissed off and like be like screaming at the screen, getting our asses kicked over and over again.
Which boss would piss you off the most?
Well, that was definitely a top one. We would also do what's the second? There's like Headless Gorilla. Is that it? Like Headless Gorilla. I think that one was like a real pain in my ass. I did like the Spider Lady a lot, which I think it's just because that was like the first one I knew I could beat. So I just kept on doing that one to like try and lock it down.
When she summons all the zombies, do you just run away from them or what do you do?
Yeah, as I recall, I think I was doing. That's always been my thing in games. Is if there's an evasion tactic, I'm usually pretty good about using that, being more of a dodger than a blocker. But sometimes, especially, well, I don't know if I should say especially that game, but it is one of those instances where like guard parry, you have to get that timing down more so than. But that's a lot of those Souls-like games are like that too. I've never been particularly good at any of them, but they have enough of a rhythm that I can usually get down eventually to where I'm like, I feel good about being able to beat some of the bosses in there. And even if I'm not the most accomplished gamer, it's probably why I'm more of the boss rush type, is because I can just sit there and practice like certain battles over and over again instead of just dying in the game. Like I'm sure I probably would many times if I played all the way through from start to finish.
It does help that your playable character is faster than any boss you're going to go up against, other than I guess like the horse guy, but still you could pretty easily just run away until they do an attack combo that leaves them vulnerable and then just go fuck them up, which is you brought up the monkey, and I hate to brag because I'm actually very bad at the game and it was a fluke that I beat the whole game ever, but first try I beat the monkey without getting hit one time because I was so used to just running and dodging and then hitting at a convenient moment, and I did that. It took like 40 minutes, but the monkey did not touch me. That's my claim to gaming fame, even though if anybody saw me do it I'd be very embarrassed because I'm just constantly running and hiding. Anything else from this volume, Eggy?
Well, that could be a big thing. Let's take a moment to just, I don't know if it's going to have any implications in the future, but the introduction of the radio knife, did I understand this correctly? It's touted as does not cause an ordinary amputation for the next few minutes, no tricks or powers. So is this some sort of new sea prism stone-esque technology or just sort of a one-off weapon for a particular fight? I thought it was interesting.
Well, it prevents treble from gooing back together, and again, we love bringing up Chekhov's gun. If if Oda's introducing it here against Treble, I have to imagine in the future there will be a similar enemy who needs to be temporarily prevented from using their power. I can't imagine who or what that may be, but I wonder if that's why he's introducing it here, so that we're not surprised when it happens 500 chapters from now.
Yeah, I would concur with that as being very, very possible. That, but I suppose we should also mention we're talking about traumas being brought back up. Also, in the very end of the volume, along with everything else that we've talked about, we get the Don Quixote backstory. That his father said, hey, you know what, fuck the celestial dragons, you're all a bunch of jerks, we'd rather just go live with all the humans and we could all live nice and peacefully, even if young Don Quixote is complaining because there's no slavery. Well, yeah, the humans, they saw that the celestial dragons were pulling up, and they said, actually, segregation is how we like it, it's time to kill you right now, celestial dragons. I thought that, his father would stand on business and be like, oh, you know what? No, it's peace between us, no matter. Really like some Queen of Fishman Island. Really stand up for what you believe in, no matter what happens. But he's just cowering and sweating profusely, like, oh, please, no, please, let me go back to Celestial Dragon, please.
The pathetic phone call was so funny. Just take my wife and children and spare them, please. Anything. Nah, you're fucked. Sorry, brother.
Yeah. Now I'm not saying that this, excuses what Doflamingo did, because obviously the puppeting of the king and everything was extremely heinous and cruel, but I mean,
but
well, I'm just saying, if I woke up and I was like, let's say if I won the lottery or something, I don't know, and I'm living like pure luxury for years, and then all of a sudden one day, somebody shows up and they're like, oh, hey, Eggy, yeah, it's me. It's your uncle that you never met for some reason. Yeah, we donated all the rest of your money to the orphans because we just, we need to go back to living a regular life. So no more mansion. Here's a cardboard box, and here's garbage to eat, and we're going to live off land now. I mean, I probably, I've lived enough life that it would be hard for me to fathom, from his perspective as a child. But in any case, this sort of dispossession, when he already had sort of a streak of psychotic and sociopathic behavior to begin with, it kind of makes sense probably how this all ended up. Yeah, more than if his father had just completely shared his sentiments and they just had popped in for no reason, but having lost his wings. So I guess that's why he's the heavenly demon. He's the fallen angel, fallen from the celestial dragon Marijoa. Although of course also that's to say nothing of the fact that he said that he is aware of the ultimate treasure of Marijoa, and that's why they had to start playing ball. They couldn't just come down and kill him anymore because he knew too much, and that's why he's kind of been able to carve out this position of power for himself, because he has this that he's holding over on the celestial dragon people.
Yes, Doflamingo, his aspirations are on a global scale, where we saw a crocodile desperately trying to just take over Alabasta. Meanwhile, Doflamingo, he's already done that. He's taken over a country and become its king and their fake hero, but that's just a step on his overall goal of, what's he say? He wants to destroy everything the celestial dragons hold dear and the world they control. So this dude wants to change the world paradigm permanently and get revenge against Israel, I guess. I mean, he's like fallen Zionist in a way.
Yeah. And it's the whole thing here, I feel like, it was so concrete in these last couple volumes. Oh my goodness, look what he's doing to these people. He's manufacturing this smile, and he did this with the king and the nation, and it's just unfathomably evil and horrible. But it's one of those moments where you kind of, free thinker moment. Well, it's not always so completely black and white, so cut and dry. Maybe he's still our enemy, but some of his aspirations might not be the most disagreeable.
And speaking of black and white, in the White Town, it is said that the world government and the merchants, they all knew that this white, whatever the fuck it was, phosphorus or whatever
White
this,
lead,
they're making all these products out of it, and they knew that it was toxic and would hurt people, but they were making so much money that they didn't care. And I'm sure there's plenty of examples of our real world governments knowingly hurting the public for the sake of profit. So maybe Doflamingo's in the right to want to tear these people down and kill them all.
So like, certainly more humanized than, you know, I probably would have said previously, but I mean, you still can't really, you know, take over a royal family and, like, you know, have them all killing each other and everything and all that slavery and all that. Yeah, you know, it is still what it is.
Erasing fathers from the memories of their wife and child and forcing them to be a toy. Like, maybe a little too cruel, but we can see where you're coming from. You're traumatized as a child. We get it. Eggy, I got a Doflamingo theory here. Him and his brother and dad are being all crucified up, and they're throwing rocks and shooting arrows at him and stuff. And Doflamingo, he falls asleep with a book on his face, and he's having this nightmare flashback, and his iconic glasses are on the windowsill. Could it be the reason we never see his true eyes? Maybe in this crucifixion as a child, maybe they shot an arrow straight through his fucking eyeball, and that's why he's always wearing his glasses, to hide his... Maybe he could one day be the eye patch pirate we've been waiting to see in One Piece.
I'm thinking, yeah, because they were, that whole scene with the crucifixion like that, I was like, oh shit, like, and, you know, it said before there was another guy who, you know, said that that it was a human, but he said the celestial dragons hunted my eyes for sports, and they probably are looking for some eye for an eye, no pun intended. But I mean, it could be like something also along the lines of like, I'm not up on my Naruto by any means, but is that the one where they've kind of got like some weird looking eyes for like their powers, or is that Avatar?
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Yeah, they have that in Naruto, and you can like take somebody's eyeball out and put it into your own skull and use their power.
I think, you know, there's a possible chance, you know, we're getting more backstory and more things that we had no idea about being unveiled. There could maybe be something, I'm not going to say it's totally out of the realm of possibility. He's talking about, you know, he knows about treasures. Maybe he's got a treasure-seeking item in his eye socket that he plugged in there after the attack. Or, you know, it's a little bit open-ended still, but...
Eggy, I think somebody flew onto your microphone. There's somebody crawling around on it. It's those damn bugs that are in my windows. But he could join. He could be the JJ of the podcast if he wants. In the last episode, I left that image of him on screen like the whole time. What's up, homeboy bug? Do those things fly? I swear one of those fucking flew around in my kitchen the other day.
Yeah, I think it flew. It was like up on my ceiling or something. Maybe that's where it was warmer at. I don't know, but I think all my hot air coming out of my face made him want to come have me blow some hot air on him as well. So.
Now, when you find a bug, do you smack it to death, or do you gracefully take it outside like a gentleman?
I've done it both, depending. If they irritate me in a way that I have a quick reaction, they're probably gonna die. But if I see them like crawling, you know, like and I'm up and I'm walking around or whatever, I might take one of my many, you know, electricity bills that I just leave laying around and never pay in case I need proof of address for anything, and then I can just scoop them up and throw them outside. But then, I mean, they're probably going to freeze to death immediately in this weather anyway, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I grab them with the toilet paper or a paper towel and then drop them in the toilet, and it's up to them if they can swim. Just flush them on down. They're not in my house anymore. They got a fighting chance. I don't know what happens down there, but it's got to be air again sometime. Maybe not. We just get out of my fucking house.
It's like a firing squad where, you know, like... they leave like one gun randomly empty so that nobody has to feel bad about committing murder. It's just like flush them down the toilet. Whatever happens. Yeah,
it's a water slide of mercy. You could have squished
water law, you might say.
Water law. I feel like there was. Oh yeah. Is this the most brutal panel in all of One Piece? In the flashback, Law finds all of the children dead.
I think it also being like interspersed with the nun being like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's all gonna be okay." And then like there are corpses everywhere. And,
20 child corpses, and Lot survives by hiding in the bodies. Oh my god. It's next level all over again.
Yeah, we want to say that this is peak Usopp performance. This might be peak tragedy as well, perhaps, considering that he knows he's dying of terminal illness. He makes his way out to see. This is like the movie writers should be taking notes here, because a child stows away because he needs some medicine for grandpa, like a nondescript illness. It's probably just normal life conditions after heating a boiler for 50 years. Versus, like burying yourself among dead, burned children with a terminal illness to go find the most like ruthless fighter around to take you under his wing. Now that'd be that hardcore shit. You're getting a higher ranking in your movie if you get some hardcore shit like that. So
I think that the cool bounty hunter character actually ranked pretty high in here. I saw his name at some point. I don't remember where though. But the guy with the really fancy name. Oh yeah, Schneider Bascule. He's like
he's in the popularity contest.
He's tied at 124 with Don Krieg in Ganbei, which we gave I think an A tier. Ganbei.
Wow, no shit. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's tied with Tom and Wanzi. Was that the noodle guy? Momonosuke is at 124? Everybody hates Momo. That sucks. Oh, man. At least Tanjit's at 81. I'm surprised Tanjit is fucking that high. Like, he's higher than Arlong and stuff. I thought only we liked Tanjit.
I have to say the fact that, as I'm looking at this again, Momonosuke is definitely the lowest, but Kinemon at 105, I mean, like, Kinemon is lower than Tyrannosaurus, and the Merry-Go, I mean, I guess we like the Merry-Go.
Dude, Kanjuro's at 86. He's been in it for 3 chapters, and he's higher than the other 2 samurai. That sucks.
This it's not the most agreeable poll. Some of it is, and some of it isn't. Oh, I just got an invitation that everybody can know about. That's for me to join the Pollute Your Soul podcast this Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central. So all you members out there who are paying, they are going to know that I'll be on the Pollute Your Soul podcast.
You're actually going on with MLH.
Yeah.
I gave him his most listened to episode, so maybe you can make a new record.
I'm going to show up with no shirt on. I'm going to oil myself up. We'll see if that does numbers.
If you can convince him to also take off his shirt, it'll do gangbusters. This is almost our longest episode. We're approaching 2 hours pretty quick, Eggy, so we could wrap up if we want, or do you want to answer more questions?
Well, you know what? I do got time, so to be honest, let's go ahead. Let's break a record. It's the greatest Usopp, greatest tragedy, and let's see if maybe I'm not gonna try and push it to stretch it, but if we got questions to answer, I'm willing to roll those dice and see where they land.
Yeah, there's not too many, so it probably won't be artificially stretched like a gum fruit user. Sebastian wants to know, is there any evidence in the story that the moon controls the ocean tides in the One Piece world? The Calm Belt, Grand Line, in Paradise, and the New World weather and anomalies, it seems less and less likely.
That's a very fair point. I don't think we probably have seen anything like that. It's where my mind goes to, but yeah, obviously, especially once we are talking Grand Line and New World areas, it seems like the weather kind of has a mind of its own. And so for those reasons, I suppose the atmosphere could be all messed up too. Like maybe it is controlling it, but it just has a lot more variables and a lot more volatility than what we're used to. But probably I would say, yeah, there's probably less and less evidence for that as time goes by.
I think the world is very much artificially created here because it's set up where if somebody was going to try to find the One Piece, it would be as impossibly difficult as possible to get to this one point because you have to go through all of the Grand Line and circumnavigate the whole globe. And like the world is specifically built so that you have to do that because by some excuse you can't just cross the Calm Belt and immediately go to the final spot, which is what I would probably do and see what the other side of Reverse Mountain looks like. But yeah, somebody who does not want the One Piece to be found, perhaps long ago, was able to permanently change how the world works. Like, in some arc they say anything unnatural about this island can be attributed to like a devil fruit, and I assume that's true of the world as a whole.
True. Otherwise, maybe you could have somebody like Kanjuro could just repeatedly draw like powerful birds and just like fly really fully and fast to like each island, and just cut the ocean out of it completely. But there's factors at play that maybe we don't fully understand that negate such strategies.
Yeah, Law has his submarine. If he just submarined to that portion of the Grand Line, would he be eaten in the Calm Belt? Maybe. I don't know. Can't use his devil fruit to get those fuckers away from him. Shitler wants to know, do you or Eggy think any of the crew will end up together by the end of the story? Do Luffy and Vivi count?
Romantically involved? I would say so. Zoro and Tashigi, Luffy and
Tashigi's
Vivi.
not on the crew.
Oh, that's fair. Okay. I think Sanji and Nami are still. I think there's definitely possibilities there.
Frankie and Robin.
They both kind of have that. Yeah. They're both mature, grown, powerful.
She grabbed his nutsack when she first met him, pretty much. They bonded on the train and as prisoners at Eni's lobby. And what about Usopp?
Yeah, I think him being.
There's no women left.
Well, maybe he could. We want to say together, maybe platonically, maybe Usopp could ride reindeer Chopper around and like go on adventures. He's very into studying the plants and stuff. Maybe he could become like a botanist in the new different areas, and he could be looking at it for his own traps and for projectiles. Chopper could look at it for medicine. I think Chopper and Usopp's great botanical adventure spinoff. I think it's got some momentum to it.
I think Usopp is saving his virginity for Kaya, so he wouldn't want to waste his life not getting out Poontang, chilling out with Chopper.
True.
The Chopper could find some reindeer woman. Let's see. Any more questions? Okay, last one. Love Machine wants to know, do you think Oda will actually kill off a main crew member at some point in the story? Now, I know this was a running theory you've had for a long time. Do you still believe so?
It's tough. I think it's possible. I think what I would say, my prediction right now would be, if it were to be the case, it would be something that would then precede the actual end of the series. Because I don't think that somebody's going to die and then they're going to continue on. At least that's how I feel at this point in the story, because I feel like we've gotten so many volumes down that I think that, if we had somebody die even in the next 30 volumes, well, I guess that might be getting to where it's caught up then at that point, I don't know, but in the next 20 volumes, I feel like the empty place of theirs would just be too, I don't know, I feel like it would just be too big of a hole. So I think if they're going to do it, it needs to like really be the switch that flips to really get us into the end game. And who knows, even in that case, you could even say maybe there could still be a chance that they could come back, but for all I know, Ace might come back one day, I don't know. Or, but
there's a contingent of people who think...
Even just somebody like him who is...
I think that Discord is giving us a big delay, Eggy, and that's why this has been all fucked up in the last hour, because it's not like it usually is. I think we're all fucked up, so hopefully it'll be better next time. But what I was going to say is a lot of people think Usopp has to die in the final arcs, which... I don't know about that. I don't think sacrificing your life makes you a brave warrior of the sea, and I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, and the fact that, hopefully it doesn't have to do with the fact that we couldn't think of an immediate romantic pairing for him on the crew. Like,
no, he's got Kaya.
Oh, well, Usopp sells, it's over, it is what it is. I know, but, we haven't been back there in a while. I'm just saying, maybe it's if somebody's, I don't know. I don't want to denigrate, his great achievements. I hope nobody dies. Like, we don't think we need anybody to die, but if it does, that'll be what I'll say. Is that's gonna be whoever it is would set us off for the finale, I think.
What are the chances that Baby 5 would literally rank at 55?
Sounds like a rigged game to me.
And
they couldn't even know like how many votes were cast. How could they possibly know how to place that? This is editorial mismanagement. Recount now. It's not too late.
Penguin, the guy who I mentioned before, who was on Law's crew, he's, I guess, popular enough to be tied with Corazon at 52. Penguin, he's not even a character. He's just like a guy in the background on Law's crew. Why is he ranking this high?
I think I've given up making sense of what Japanese children enjoy. I try to meet them in the middle through time and space and regional differences, but it's just not happening.
Okay, Eggy, we've gone over 2 hours. Let's wrap it up. You have anything you want to plug this week?
That's right. I'm going to keep on directing to Zitter. That's x.com/2eggwhite or @eggwhite if you're on some other app or whatever, you'll find it. And nobody gets notifications from my YouTube channel when I go live, but they all get the Twitter notifications, so they have been appreciating that. I don't know. There's been some dissent. They're like, oh, YouTube does too much auto-censoring in the chat. You should go back to one of these other sites, but I just don't know. I think YouTube still has been, overall, the good and the bad. It's been kind of the hot place to be for people to actually want to show up in higher numbers for the live broadcasts, which I did like 4 in a week, which is pretty good for me. I'm going to keep it coming, be doing more, so make sure to keep those Twitter notifications on, and you'll get the live link when it is sent out. I don't tweet that much, so you won't get blown up too much.
If you want to say things that you can't say on YouTube, you just need to up your creativity here, your imagination, because surely YouTube filters, they can't have every version of TK hidden away, okay? Find a way. Don't blame the platform, blame yourself. And I'll plug, by the time this comes out, Vincent episode 2 will definitely be out, so go hear what Vincent the Atheist, Eggy playing God, and all the rest have to say about Muhammad, the last prophet. He'll save the children with his visions from angels and all that. Go check it out on the Simi and Jimmy YouTube channel. Any last second predictions that are in your mind before we say goodbye, Eggy?
Well, I'm not sure. I
guess not.
I think that
peace people. No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess it's peace people.
No, honestly, nothing I didn't say already, I don't think.